We're trying out a microphone today. I had this, what's it called? The blue microphone. So I figured we may as well try it. It's good if you're talking into it like this.
Hey guys, I'm Jester.
And I'm Don.
Welcome to So Awkward.
Today we're talking about The Walking Dead Season 5 episode, entitled, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. Why are we never prepared for anything?
And today we're talking about The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 5, Self-Help.
I hated this episode.
I hated this episode.
I don't think I can say that about any other episode of The Walking Dead. This was awful.
It was terrible. Even when the show isn't as great as it usually is, there's never been a terrible episode. Like, I've never not liked an episode. Didn't like this episode.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we both knew we would hate it. So, I mean, I admit that going in, I wasn't going to like it. Because it's about the guys going to DC.
Right.
So going into it, it was already about the characters we don't really care about, with the storyline that I never really bought into. But then it was just bad.
The previews for next week have Daryl and Carol. That's all I'm holding on to. I don't think I even have anything to say about this. Maggie and Glenn had, maybe 2 minutes of screen time?
Right. And they had that moment where they were in bed together. Not bed, they were in floor together. And Glenn said, "And you miss them?" And she's like, "Yeah, I miss Rick." And she listed everybody except for her sister. Like, I kept waiting for her to say, like, that would be it. This is, like, you brought Beth back. I thought she was going to say, I miss Beth. Yeah.
Nope.
Spoiler warning, obviously. Eugene is a fraud. He's not really a scientist. There's no cure. He was just using them as an excuse to go to Washington because he thought Washington would be more secure. I'm sure for the president, he's in a bunker somewhere. They're not going to let in these idiots.
Right.
That pissed me off. Because it's not a shock that there's no cure. I mean, we all knew there was no cure. But it pissed me off because last season they brought in these characters. Abraham, Eugene, the girl. Rosita. And they said, we've got the cure. We've got to get this guy to Washington. And not once did anybody question it. Not once did anybody question his training, his expertise, who he was, who Flat Top Guy was, whether the cure will work, whether he still has a team in Washington, whether he's in communication with them, why he thinks it'll work. They buy into it completely from the first moment they meet him. Okay, we have to get him to Washington. Bob, we have to get him to Washington. Bob's girlfriend, who we haven't seen either this season. We got to get him to Washington. Rick, all right, we're going to take you to Washington. Not once.
Nope.
Bad writing. Have the scene where, like, I just don't know if this guy's for real, but at least it's something. Have a scene. No scenes like that at all. The characters were completely unbelievable in their belief, in their agreement to go along with this ridiculous plan with these two characters who were introduced in season 4. Okay, so that was annoying, but it's like, okay, that's your premise. You're gonna have a plot about a cure. I'll go with it. I'll suspend my disbelief in not just in the existence of a cure, but in the conceit that the characters are going along with this conceit. Okay. And now you're gonna reveal that's all a sham, that there was no cure at all. So you did bad writing to have us as an audience go along with this plot, only to have it all be a fraud. That pissed me off. I don't know if I'm making it clear that pissed me off. So it was bad writing when they introduced these characters in this ridiculous subplot that nobody would have believed. And it's bad writing when they revealed this ridiculous plot was all just a ruse. That's not a plot twist. I mean, from the first moment Eugene stepped on camera, we knew he wasn't a scientist. He was ridiculous. Him and Abraham, fine actors, giving their all, especially the guy who plays Abraham. He did a great job in this episode, acting. That terrible script he was given. But he's not a scientist. We know he's not a scientist. He's ridiculous. But all the characters, all they needed to do in order to have this episode work is have earlier on the characters express some kind of doubt, which they never did. Not to an extent that I believed. That's what I have to say about that. This episode was about two characters that I didn't care about.
Not at all. Not at all.
So this big reveal. I did like how Abraham basically beat Eugene to death. I hope it's to death.
I hope so.
I don't want to sound like a jerk. But
we don't need him at all anymore.
No.
No one thinks that he has a cure or that he's a scientist anymore, so there is absolutely no reason to keep him on the show.
Right.
So yeah, I'm hoping he's dead.
In some ways, this episode felt like house cleaning. At least that's what I hoped that they were doing. Like, oh, this subplot's going nowhere. It's not as interesting as we thought it would be. Let's get rid of it. That would be a failure on the part of the show's writers and producers, but at least it would be them making up for a mistake. These terrible characters. I mean, it might be interesting to see where Abraham goes from here. All the flashback stuff where what did that reveal? That he's got anger issues? Or that people are scared of him? Who was the woman? Was that his wife? I don't know. Is he even in the military? That's never addressed, or did he just find a tank top? And then there was all that stuff on the bus where they tried to use Eugene's mullet as some kind of symbolism. Like, hey, Eugene, why do you have that mullet? Like, they keep making fun of his mullet. The reason he has a mullet is because it's the fucking post-apocalypse and there's no barbers anymore. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, I refuse to believe that after the zombies have taken over the world, people are going to be making fun of other people's haircuts. Everybody's going to look like shit. Everybody's going to have a mullet.
Yeah.
Because if I happen to finally come across some scissors, I would, cut it out of my face and be like, okay, the zombies are coming, let's go. Like, everybody would have a mullet. Ugh.
Let's pretend that you're Abraham. You wake up and there's these people, I don't know if it's his family or not, but they're gone. And he runs out looking for them and he finds them all dead. And you're on your knees, you literally put the gun in your mouth. Mm-hmm. And then someone asks for help and you just decide to not kill yourself.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I have a problem with that. I would have killed myself.
Yeah, but maybe...
This one person needs help, and he doesn't really even need help. No, the gun is already in my mouth.
Don't make me defend this episode.
It's over.
But I think he's a man who feels driven to help people. Or maybe, we don't know what he's thinking. Maybe he's thinking, I have no reason to go on. Like, I have no place, and then he hears help. He might just be a guy who, when somebody... here's the thing. I didn't have a problem with him not killing himself to help Eugene. Because I think at heart, Abraham is a good man. So I believe he would do that. What I didn't believe was when he was walking away, possibly to go kill himself again. And then Eugene says, wait, I have a mission. And then Abraham's like, a mission? I think he even did. I think he even looked at the camera and went, aha, a mission. Right? That I didn't believe.
I don't believe any of it.
Well, there's also that. And don't even get me started. I mean, in the course of this series, we've seen, Herschel got his head cut off. We've seen people eating intestines. Rick ate that guy's throat.
Yeah.
The governor tore out that throat of a zombie. Then he ripped the zombie's head off. The governor, who had an aquarium of living zombie heads. The list goes on. A guy tried to rape Carl. Don't get me started on Shane beating that guy to death because he beat up Carol. The single most disturbing moment in the entire series is Eugene jerking off while watching Abraham have sex with Rosita. Right? What were they thinking? And then, what's her name? Tara comes in, and they have that heart-to-heart conversation, and in the background you can hear I don't know, you can hear Eugene and Rosita having in coitus.
Abraham,
right. Or maybe he wasn't masturbating, but it was implied because he was in the self-help section.
Right.
Ugh. I don't even want to talk about that anymore. So you came over to my apartment to talk about what is probably at least our least favorite episode of the entire series. There's a blizzard going on.
Yeah. Yeah. You have no idea what it's like out there right now.
I know. It's like there's a zombie. And you drove farther to get here than Abraham and his group drove in the school bus before they crashed.
I did.
Do you have anything else to add about?
I have nothing. This was awful.
Leave a comment down below if you liked or hated this episode. If we're wrong, let us know. We're not. This episode sucked.